Hello Keyforgers and welcome back. Slightly different video today. I attended a 2-deck sealed Worlds Collide tournament at the Board Game Hut, which is a friendly local gaming store in Southend in the UK. They've recently moved location and they have a fantastic new shop where the bottom floor is like a cafe and they have their board game selections and you can do open gaming, and up the top they have tables set out where they hold tournaments, and this is where we were. Now, it was Worlds Collide, which isn't everyone's favourite set, but it does seem to be the set that we can get our hands on the most at the moment. I did attend one back in, I think, June, and I came second. That was a 2-deck Archon survival. Now, this was 2-deck sealed survival. Now, there were actually 6 of us that went down from D20 in Watford. I had a car full of 5, and another one of our friends drove down. So we made up over 50% because there was only 11 people. There's meant to be 12, but there was 11 people on the day who turned up. These were my 2 decks that I got. So as you can see on the left here, we've got Star Alliance, Saurians and Dis, and Godfist, the Damned Residence Scribe. Sort of a crab-like Archon on there. And then on the right, nice blue Archon, we had Saurian, Logos, and it wouldn't be Worlds Collide if we didn't have Brobnar. And that's the Brash Questor. And that's a lovely Thai Archon, has got 6 hands coming off there. Looks really impressive. We were given our decks and then we were given 10 minutes to decide which one we wanted to start with. Now, the deck you start with is the deck you have to play until you either win the entire tournament with it or you lose. If you lose, that deck is kind of like your life, so you've lost a life, and then you have to continue in the tournament with your other deck. There's always been arguments about, do you start with your worst deck, do you start with your best deck, what's the best way to progress? When I won a store championship sealed, I used my best deck first and got all the way to the quarterfinals before it lost. That did mean that I didn't have much time to learn my new deck. Most people tend to play their worst deck to see how far they can get first. Now, when I had a look through these 2 decks, and we're going to do that in a sec, they were kind of evenly matched. And you think, well, hang on, one's got Worlds Collide Brobnar. When you have a look, you'll see the creature control wasn't bad. The expected amber was okay. It was actually the amber control that was pretty terrible in both. I decided to use Godfist, the Damned Resident Scribe first, and I'll tell you why after we've looked at both decks. So I'll go through Godfist, then I'll go through Brash, and then I'll tell you about the results. Nice close-up on that Crab Archon there. Bottom card coming out, we're turning over. Starting out with Star Alliance. We have Garcia's Blaster. It's an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gains Fight Reap. You may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach Garcia's Blaster to Sensor Chief Garcia. After you attach Garcia's Blaster to Sensor Chief Garcia, steal 1 amber. Crash Muldoon, 3 power deploy. Crash Muldoon enters play ready. Action, use a neighbouring non-Star Alliance creature. Transporter Platform is an artifact. You get an amp when you play it. Action, return a friendly creature and each upgrade attached to it to your hand. Navigator Ali, 3 power, play Fight Reap. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck and put them back in any order. Information Officer Grey, 4 power, play Fight Reap. You may reveal a non-Star Alliance card from your hand. If you do, archive it. A second Information Officer Grey. Force Field is an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gains Reap, ward this creature. Zap is an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play. Deal 1 damage to a creature for each house represented among creatures in play. There, Sensor Chief Garcia, 3 power, play Fight Reap. Keys cost +2 amber during your opponent's next turn. Light of the Archons is an upgrade. You get an amp when you play it. This creature gets +1 power and +1 armor for each upgrade attached to it. Commander Chan, 4 power, Fight Reap. Use another friendly creature. Arms Master Melina, 4 power, hazardous 3. Each of Arms Master Melina's neighbours gains hazardous 3. On to Saurian, starting out with Imperial Forge. It's an action. You get an amp when you play it. Play, forge a key at +8 current cost, reduced by 1 amber for each amber on friendly creatures. Auto Legionary is an artifact. Action, put Auto Legionary on a flank of your battle line. While in the battle line, it is considered a creature with 5 power and belongs to all houses. Pterodactyl, 12 power, enters play stunned, only does 4 damage when fighting, but before fight, deal 4 damage to each neighbour of the creature Pterodactyl fights. Stomp is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, deal 5 damage to a creature. If this damage destroys that creature, exalt a friendly creature. A second Stomp. Paraguardian, 6 power, 1 armor. Reap, you may exalt Paraguardian. If you do, ward each of its neighbors. Draco Praco, 4 power. Reap, you may exalt Draco Praco. If you do, choose a house, enrage each creature of that house. Ratagalem, 3 power. Play, your opponent's keys cost +3 amber during the next turn. Reap, you may exalt Ratagalem. If you do, your opponent's keys cost +3 amber during their next turn. Praefectus Ludo, 5 power. Each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. A second Ludo. Chant of Hubris is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. Axiom of Grisk is an action. Play, ward a creature, destroy each creature with no amber on it, gain 2 chains. Finally, on to Dis. We're starting out with Lord Invidious. It's the leader of Dis, 5 power with elusive. While Lord Invidious is in the center of your battle line, it gains Reap. Take control of an enemy flank creature and exhaust it. While under your control, it belongs to House Dis. The Evil Eye is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, keys cost +3 amber during your opponent's next turn. Misery Exploits is an action. Play, gain 1 amber for each damaged enemy creature. Malison, 5 power. Fight, you may move an enemy creature anywhere in its controller's battle line. Then if it is on a flank, it captures 1 amber from its own side. Imp Spectre, 2 power. Destroyed, purge a random card from your opponent's hand. A second Imp Spectre. Festering Touch is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, choose up to 2 creatures, deal 1 damage to each chosen creature. If that creature was already damaged, deal 3 damage instead. Exhume is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, choose a creature in your discard pile. You may play that creature as if it belonged to the active house and was in your hand. Eterome, 4 power. Reap, destroy a creature of the house with the most creatures in play. A second Eterome. Dendrix, 5 power. Fight, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Buzzle, 3 power skirmish. Play fight, you may purge 1 of Buzzle's neighbours. If you do, ready Buzzle. There we have it. As you can see, not much control. There are a few nice things, especially in Star Alliance, having that transporter platform and those upgrades. I won my first match with this deck, and in the second one, I just couldn't contend with the board and the amount of reaping they were doing. So I didn't have ball control, and they could reap out a lot faster than I could. I was never able to pull off that Forge in Saurion's, that key cheat, because I couldn't exalt my creatures that much. There weren't that many of my Saurion creatures that exalted, or put amber on other creatures. That's why I chose to use that one first. So for game 3, I went on to my second deck. Let's have a look. Better look at that 6-armed Archon there. Bottom card coming out. Turning over. Starting out with Saurion. We have City Gate, which is an artifact. Action, a friendly creature captures 1 amber. If that creature is a dinosaur, it captures 2 amber instead. Pterodactyl, 12 power, enters play stunned. Only deals 4 damage when fighting, but before fight, deal 4 damage to each neighbour of the creature Pterodactyl fights. Stomp is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, deal 5 damage to a creature. If that damage destroys that creature, exalt a friendly creature. Ancient Power is an action you get an amber when you play it. Play, ward each friendly creature with amber on it. Thera Centurion, 6 power, 1 armor. Play fight, capture 1 amber. The Golden Spiral is an artifact. Action, exalt a friendly creature, ready and use that creature. Senator Strix, 4 power, 1 armor. You may spend amber on Senator Strix as if it were in your pool. Play Reap, you may exalt Senator Strix. Praefectus Ludo, 5 power. Each other friendly creature gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. And a second Ludo. Phalanx Strike is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, choose a creature, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. A second Phalanx Strike. Legatus Raptor, 4 power, 1 armor. Fight, you may exalt Legatus Raptor. If you do, ready and use another friendly creature. And on to a Logos. Starting out with Chaos Portal, it's an artifact. Action, choose a house, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is of that house, play it. Seismo Entangler is another artifact. Action, choose a house. During your opponent's next turn, creatures of that chosen house cannot be used to reap. Memory Chip is an artifact. After you choose Logos as your active house, archive a card. A second Memory Chip. Discombobulator is an upgrade. Get an amber when you play it. This creature gains your amber cannot be stolen. Anomaly Exploiter is an artifact. Action, destroy a damaged creature. Wild Wormhole is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play the top card of your deck. Titan Guardian, 5 power, 1 armor with taunt. Destroyed if Titan Guardian is not on a flank. Draw 2 cards. Thorium Plasmate is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. Move an enemy creature anywhere in its controller's battle line. Deal 2 damage to that creature for each of its neighbours that shares a house with it. Sanitation Engineer, 4 power with hazardous 1. Reap, discard a card from your hand. Quant, 3 power. Reap, you may play 1 non-Logos action card this turn. Hapsis, 5 power. After an enemy creature is destroyed fighting Hapsis, ward Hapsis and draw a card. And finally on to Brobnar, starting out with Noggy Smart Fist, 5 power. Fight, draw 2 cards. Discard 2 random cards from your hand. Overrun is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. If 3 or more enemy creatures have been destroyed this turn, your opponent loses 2 amber. Little Rapskull, 2 power elusive. Creatures must fight when used if able. A second Little Rapskull. Flamethrower is an artifact. Action. Deal 1 damage to a creature with 1 damage splash. A second Flamethrower. Ire Staff is an artifact. You get an amber when you play it. Action. Enrage a creature. Give that creature a +1 power counter. A second Ire Staff. A third Ire Staff. Gengar Chieftain, 5 power. Play. You may Radiant Fight with a neighbouring creature. A second Gengar Chieftain. A Lacquer, 4 power. If you've used a creature to fight this turn, a Lacquer enters play ready. So there you have it. That's my second deck. You might have noticed there, I had 12 artifacts in that deck, which is why I chose to use it second. I actually won the first game I played, so round 3 I won. Round 4 I lost, but it was very close. I did have all 12 artifacts out on the board. It was quite fun to play, but ultimately, because of Worlds Collide, all the decks came from the same box. So I think there was like 6 of us with the Lord Invidious. A lot of people had 2 or more Imp Spectres. So obviously it wasn't shuffled too well when they were made. As you saw, we had 2 Lodos in each deck. So I lost my last life on round 4. But thankfully, I qualified for another tournament. They held sort of like a smaller tournament for people who had already been out. I missed the first one, but I was there for the second one. And what they did was they actually just gave us another deck to play. So my new deck was Riddlesby Dragonsville, or Dragonsville, I think it's Dragonsville Builder. And that was Star Alliance, Saurions, and Dis. So Saurions again. Thankfully no Brobnar. And then I played against, I think it was 2 other people. It was only 2 rounds, I think, because there was only about 5 of us. But let me take you through the deck. Close up on that arc on there. It looks like a ship that has a face on it. Bottom card coming out, we're turning over. Starting out with Star Alliance, that's Chance Blaster, which is an upgrade. You get an amber when you play it. This creature gains Fight, Reap. You may deal 2 damage to a creature or attach Chance Blaster to Commander Chan. After you attach Chance Blaster to Commander Chan, you may use another friendly creature. Quicksilver Stone is an artifact. You get an amber when you play it. If a player has more creatures in play than their opponent, they cannot play creatures. Universal Translator is an upgrade. You get an amber when you play it. This creature gains Fight, Reap. Use a friendly, non-Star Alliance creature. Transporter Platform is an artifact. You get an amber when you play it. Action. Return a friendly creature and each upgrade attached to it to your hand. Quintrino Flux is an action. Play. Choose a friendly creature and an enemy creature. Destroy the chosen creature and each creature with the same power as either of the chosen creatures. Zap is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. Deal 1 damage to a creature for each house represented among creatures in play. Stealth Mode is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play. Your opponent cannot play action cards during their next turn. Science Officer Quinn can 2 power with elusive. After a player chooses an active house which matches no cards in play, steal 1 amber. Light of the Archons is an upgrade. You get an amber when you play it. This creature gets +1 power and +1 armor for each upgrade attached to it. Explo Rover, 3 power skirmish, may be played as an upgrade instead of a creature with the text, this creature gains skirmish. A second Explo Rover. Commander Chan, 4 power, fight reap, use another friendly creature. On to Saurians, we're starting out with Tribune Pompetus, 4 power, 2 armor. Each friendly creature gets +2 power for each amber on it. Before fight, you may exalt Tribune Pompetus. City-State Interest is an action. Play. Each friendly creature captures 1 amber. Centurion Stenopius, I believe that's how you pronounce it, I may be butchering that, gets +3 power for each amber on it. Play, fight, reap, you may exalt Centurion Stenopus. The Golden Spiral is an artifact. Action, exalt a friendly creature, ready and use that creature. A second Golden Spiral. Retagalem, 3 power. Play, your opponent's keys cost +3 amber during the next turn. Reap, you may exalt Retagalem. If you do, your opponent's keys cost +3 amber during the next turn. A second Reta. Phalanx Strike is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, choose a creature, deal 1 damage to it for each friendly creature. You may exalt a friendly creature to repeat the preceding effect. A second Phalanx Strike. Imperium is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, ward 2 friendly creatures. Imperial Scutum is an upgrade. You get an amber when you play it. This creature gets +2 armor and gains destroyed. Move each amber on this creature to the common supply. Chant of Hubris is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, move 1 amber from a creature to another creature. And finally on to Dis, starting out with Eater of the Dead. 4 power, fight reap, purge a creature from a discard pile. If you do, put a +1 power counter on Eater of the Dead. Spider, 2 power skirmish. It gains poison while attacking an enemy flank creature. Hysteria is an action. Play, return each creature to its owner's hand. Gleeful Mayhem is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, for each house, deal 5 damage to a creature of that house. Bornit's Touch is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, reveal the top 5 cards of a player's deck. Purge a card revealed this way. Shuffle the other revealed cards into that deck. The Evil Eye is an action. You get an amber when you play it. Play, keys cost +3 amber during your opponent's next turn. A second Evil Eye. And a third Evil Eye. Malison, 5 power. Fight, you may move an enemy creature anywhere in its controller's battle line. Then, if it is on a flank, it captures 1 from its own side. Draining Touch is an action. Play, destroy a creature with no amber on it. Binding Irons is an action. Play, your opponent gains 3 chains. Oh, 1 more card. There it is. Tesmal, 2 power elusive. Reap, choose a house. Your opponent cannot choose that house as the active house on their next turn. Now, this was a legacy card. It doesn't appear in Worlds Collide. So it was nice to get that legacy there. Now, I won both games that I played in that mini tournament. So I ended up winning that little mini tournament. Pretty much thanks to those 3 Evil Eyes in there, which really helped slow my opponent down. For winning that tournament, I got this, which is a lovely Shadows deck box. Got a Dusk Runner on the back there. And I believe that's Splinter. Keyforge. I think 20 means season 20, but it's quite a sturdy deck box. I've actually got a deck in there that I'm going to try out tonight when I go out. And in the actual tournament, I came 5th. And I got myself a lovely new chain tracker, which is Sanctum, to go with my Mars one that I won as well. So all my special chain trackers, I've actually won, which is a really nice thing to do. And then I got this lovely little deck box, which has Val Jericho on one side, and I believe that's Crash Muldoon on the other side. I haven't put a deck in there yet, but obviously I will. If you've seen any of my actual gameplay videos with Ben attended as well. He actually got to the final on his first deck. So he still had both his lives when he went into the final. He played one of our friends, Adam, who works at D20, and Adam beat him. So then Ben had to quickly transition to his second deck and play Adam again. And their games went to time. Both their games went to time. So it was about an hour and a half they were playing for. Ben sadly lost his second deck as well, but they had so much fun. So Ben had a really good day. He came second, Adam came first, I came fifth. So it was a good showing from D20 down at the Board Game Hut. And I'm hoping when the new set drops, a lot more stores will start running sealed tournaments, and I'll be able to do a lot more videos on them. But all that remains me to say now is good luck, have fun, keep forging.